Welcome back. You're listening to Element 47 or Element 47 or 47. That matter is still with legal, and I'm Breezy Fontaine. Before we get started, I want to catch everyone up on what happened this week, which was, and I cannot stress this enough, a lot. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny played halftime. An American woman named, and this is just a beautiful coincidence, Breezy won Olympic gold in the downhill. Metals broke. A filmmaker is suing a car company about a race car. The Pentagon broke up with Harvard, and the name Breezy is trending worldwide, which I'm sure is about the skiing. Mostly.
I'm Harold.
Harold is here. Harold is always here. Let's begin with what's broken.
I've been asked to comment on the metal failures at Milano Cortina. As a geologist, I want to be clear that I predicted this.
This is Sparky the Lion reporting live from Cortina d'Ampezzo, where, and I am watching this happen in real time, a bronze medal has just separated from its ribbon and is rolling down the Via Casello. Italian officials are pursuing it on foot. The medal appears to be accelerating.
The composition is wrong. You can't layer gold over silver over. I'm told there's zinc in there somewhere and expect structural coherence. That's not how strata work. The Earth doesn't just stack things and hope for the best.
Well,
the Earth stacks things with 4.5 billion years of pressure. These metals had 6 months and a committee.
Update. The bronze medal has come to rest in a cafe. A waiter has placed it on a saucer. It appears to be comfortable. The waiter says it can stay through lunch.
Breezy Johnson's gold medal fractured into 3 pieces when she jumped on the podium. 3. That's not a break. That's a tripartite divergence. The clasp failed first, which means the weakest point was the connection between the achievement and the thing that holds it to you.
that seems like it means something.
It means the clasp was zinc.
Additional reports now coming in from figure skating. Alysa Liu's team event gold has also detached from its ribbon. I am told the organizing committee is investigating with, and this is a direct quote, maximum attention. That is the maximum available attention. They have no higher setting.
The clasp was always going to fail. The question was when.
Yes, that's geologically yes. This episode is brought to you by Consolidated. Our clasps hold. We can't tell you what they hold or what they're holding it to, but they hold. The drawer has been audited. The contents have been noted. The pronunciation has stabilized. Consolidated, we don't break.
Welcome back to All Currents, the only show that asks, where's the water? I'm Beverley Streams, and today we have so much water I almost don't know where to begin. The women's Olympic downhill at Milano Cortina. Snow, ice, frozen precipitation and elevation, and at the center of it, a woman named Breezy, which is wind, not water, but wind moves water, so we'll allow it. Breezy Johnson descended 700 vertical feet of frozen water at approximately 80 miles per hour and won the gold medal, which then broke. But the descent was about water's willingness to let you travel across it when it's in a specific state. The coefficient of friction between a waxed ski base and packed snow is roughly 0.4. That's water saying, go ahead. That's water giving you permission.
Is this the skiing show or the water show?
Both. It's always both. She won by 0.04 of a second, 0.04. The same number as the friction coefficient. That's not a coincidence. That's water being precise. Water remembers its numbers.
She's the second American woman to win the Olympic downhill. The first was in 2010, in Vancouver, where it rains.
Harold, thank you. It does rain in Vancouver. It rains constantly in Vancouver.
She beat Emma Acher by 400ths. Her medal weighed more than she expected, and then it broke because she was happy. That's the actual story. She was so happy she broke the thing that proved she won.
Happiness as a force that exceeds the structural capacity of recognition. We'll explore that after the break on All Currents.
That was Beverley Streams with the water angle. Gorgeous stuff. Speaking of gorgeous, I just want to note, and this has nothing to do with me, that the name Breezy is having a moment right now. Breezy Johnson. Gold medal. First American in 16 years. Idaho native. Wyoming raised. The name just carries a certain velocity, elegance. You hear Breezy and you think, this person wins things and looks good doing it. Fun fact, there was a 40% spike in searches for the name Breezy this weekend. I looked it up. For no particular reason. Anyway, not about me. Up next, a lawsuit about a car.
Name. Nature of complaint.
I created a vision. A vision for the Cadillac Formula One Team Super Bowl commercial. I pitched the concept. I storyboarded the asymmetry. The yin-yang. Black on one side, white on the other. The duality of competition. They loved it. They shook my hand. And then they made the commercial without me and they aired it during the Super Bowl and they owe me $1.5 million.
I'll need you to fill out Form 12C. Creative property theft, cinematic subtype.
Can I fill it out in IMAX format?
The form is 5 by 11 inches.
That's not a format. That's a compromise.
Can we talk about the actual livery? It's black on the right side, white on the left. Perez and Barras. They're calling it asymmetry as a deliberate design philosophy, a yin and yang balance where grit meets aspiration. It's the most expensive way anyone's ever said. We painted it 2 colors.
I have a supplementary form for philosophical disagreements. Vehicle subtype.
Stone, I need a tactical assessment of this livery situation. A vehicle that presents 2 different faces depending on the angle of approach. That's either brilliant camouflage or an operational security crisis. If I'm pursuing this vehicle, which side am I chasing? The grit side or the aspiration side? These are different tactical profiles.
The drivers are Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas.
Former Red Bull. Former Mercedes. Both dismissed. You're telling me this car is crewed entirely by personnel who were let go by superior organizations.
The car is for people who were let go. The livery is the disagreement they brought with them.
Who is this man and why does he keep being right?
That's Harold. He was here when I opened the office. He's always here when I open the office.
Listen up. As of 0700 Friday, the War Department has terminated all academic partnerships with Harvard University. Graduate programs, terminated. Fellowships, terminated. Certificate programs, also terminated.
I'm sorry. I'm hearing this correctly. The Pentagon is severing its relationship with higher education.
With Harvard, specifically, Defense Secretary Hegseth has determined that Harvard is, and I'm quoting the official communique, too woke. Our officers were coming back, and I quote again, looking too much like Harvard.
He has a degree from Harvard. A master's in public policy from the Kennedy School.
He returned it on television. In 2022. Which, tactically speaking, is the correct way to surrender a diploma publicly with maximum viewership in a single clean operation. No extraction necessary.
This is, my field of study this semester, is institutional dissolution. So this is extremely relevant, but I object to being a primary source while it's happening to me.
The interesting part is that current students can finish their courses, so the break isn't instantaneous. It's a slow detachment, the relationship ending in stages.
Continental drift.
Exactly.
Continental drift takes 200 million years. This takes until the 2026-27 academic year.
Same principle, different time scale.
Other Ivy League institutions will be evaluated going forward. I recommend Princeton prepare a tactical response. Yale should consider fortifications. Columbia should probably sit still and be quiet.
Fortifications? These are universities, Colonel. They have libraries, not armories.
And Harvard was a university. Now it's a line item that's been zeroed out. The landscape has shifted, Professor. Adapt or be adapted.
Adapt or be adapted. I'll use that in my Thursday lecture, if I still have a Thursday lecture.
You do. Room 14. 3rd floor. The projector has a loose cable on the left input, but the right one still works.
How do you know that?
I'm Harold.
Hey, I'm here to tell you about the all-new iPhone 17e from Apple. It's got the A19 chip, Which is, let me check, 19 more than the original chip, which was the A0. It's got MagSafe. Finally. MagSafe means your phone sticks to things magnetically, like a refrigerator, or a car, or a person if they're wearing enough metal. It's also got a 48 megapixel camera, which means each of your pixels is, I'm being told mega, so they're large pixels. Confident pixels. And it's only $599, which is less than what Amazon is spending on AI this year by approximately $199,999,401. The iPhone 17e. Available maybe February 19th, possibly March. Apple hasn't decided, which is exactly the confidence I look for when choosing a phone. I endorse it.
MS. Vaughn, I don't know if you remember me. Phil from accounting, we met at Well. It was in a previous episode. There was a situation involving some reimbursement forms from 2019. Ski equipment. I was pretty insistent about it at the time. I brought these. They're flowers, not forms. I watched the race. I mean, everyone watched the race. 80 miles an hour and you could see Cortina in the background and the light was, and then the fourth gate caught your shoulder and you went.
Phil from accounting.
Yes, ma'am.
You came to the hospital. In Cortina d'Ampezzo.
I was already in the area. Well, I'm always sort of in the area. It's an accounting thing. We go where the receipts are, and there are a lot of receipts at the Olympics.
Don't make me laugh. The leg.
Sorry.
Phil, do you know I raced that downhill on a torn ACL from 2 weeks before? A different crash in Switzerland. I was helicoptered off a mountain in Switzerland, and then I went to a different mountain in Italy, and I did it again.
I read that. That seems beyond what any reimbursement form could cover.
I'm 41. I have a titanium knee. I came back from retirement because I felt like I could still do it, and I could still do it. 5 World Cup downhill podiums this season, 2 wins, and then I crashed 13 seconds into the Olympic run. 13 seconds. And you know what the IOC president said after?
What?
I wouldn't count her out for 2030.
That's in 4 years.
I know.
Would you like me to look into whether your 2019 ski equipment reimbursement has accrued enough interest over 7 years to cover the physical therapy?
Yes, Phil. I'd like that.
7 years of compound interest on a ski equipment claim. That's actually a significant sum. The forms alone would be...
Phil.
Yes.
Thank you for the flowers.
The forms can always wait.
She'll ski again.
That was genuinely beautiful, and I'm not going to undermine it. I'm not going to mention that the woman who won the gold medal Lindsey Vonn was chasing is also named Breezy. I'm not going to point out that there are now 2 famous Breezys linked to this single Olympic event, the winner and the broadcaster covering it. I'm simply going to observe that some names carry a certain weight, and then that weight breaks the clasp, and then the name rolls down a hill in Cortina. We contain multitudes. Coming up, birthplaces.
Kristiina Mägi was born in Tallinn, Estonia, in 1987. Or possibly in Tallinn, Estonian Soviet Socialist Republic, Soviet Union, in 1987. It depends on when you check. She is now born in the Estonian SSR. As of 11 seconds ago, her birth has been revised. She is born in Estonia again. As of 4 seconds ago, her birth has been re-revised.
Please hold. Connecting Estonian Wikipedia editor to Latvian Wikipedia editor to Lithuanian Wikipedia editor. You are now on a party line. This connection was not requested.
They changed 600 birthplaces. 600 people. They changed the president's birthplace. They changed my birthplace.
Same here. Rinkovich, Selena, Dombrovskis, they changed all of them to Latvian SSR, Soviet Union. The athletes too.
They are sitting on guard. You change it back, they change it forward. You walk away for 5 minutes, they are already there. They never leave.
597 Estonians were born, retroactively, in a country that dissolved in 1991. Under international law, the Baltic states never ceased to exist during the Soviet occupation. But international law does not have a Wikipedia login.
I can process a birthplace reclassification dispute. Form 9E. You'll need to specify the jurisdiction of birth, the jurisdiction of the edit, and the jurisdiction you would prefer.
I'd prefer to have been born in Estonia. Because I was.
Initial here, here, and here. And here is a supplementary form for individuals whose birthplace has been edited more than 3 times in a single calendar month. You'll also want Form 9E Roman 2, which is for people whose birthplace has been edited more times than they have actually been born.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but has anyone considered the Baltic Sea in all of this? Estonia borders the Baltic Sea. Latvia borders the Baltic Sea. Lithuania borders the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Sea has not been reclassified. You can't edit water.
That is not the point.
The water is always the point.
Meanwhile, on a separate page, Lindsay Vaughn's Wikipedia entry is being edited in real time. Was her comeback heroic? Or was racing on a torn ACL reckless? The article has been revised 14 times since the surgery. The discussion page is longer than the article. The article is in unstable condition.
That dispute has been nominated for inclusion on Wikipedia's Lamest Edit Wars page, which is itself the subject of an edit dispute about whether the word lamest is pejorative or merely descriptive. They've been debating that since 2009. No resolution. In 1991, Estonia restored its independence. The Wikipedia article for Estonian independence has been edited 4,217 times. The Baltic Sea article has been edited 11,000 times. Beverley may be right. The water is more contested than the nations.
Thank you, Harold.
This is Sparky the Lion reporting live from what I am told is an Amazon Web Services data center currently being built around me. I entered through what was a door and is now a wall. The structure has grown 14% since I arrived. I am standing in what was the lobby 20 minutes ago and is now deep infrastructure. Amazon has announced it will spend $200 billion this year on facilities like this one. For context, that is more than the GDP of most countries. Their stock dropped 11% on the news, which means the market believes $200 billion is either too much or not enough and cannot decide which. And that indecision costs $80 billion in market cap. Big tech is collectively spending $650 billion on AI infrastructure this year. $650 billion. That is roughly the cost of building a second, smaller civilization inside the first one. I am standing inside civilization number 2. It hums.
I've been here for some time.
Harold is here. Harold, how long have you been inside this data center?
It depends on what you mean by here.
I mean physically present in this structure.
I'm Harold.
All right. Harold, the building assigned you a rack number. What is your rack number?
2.
Just 2.
It was in the queue. It found me.
The AI workloads in here are growing at what engineers describe as a faster rate than anticipated. I'm told the CEO said the spending would go predominantly to AWS. Predominantly. As opposed to what? Where else would $200 billion go? Is there a secondary $200 billion? A shadow budget? I am asking these questions and the building is not answering, but it is getting larger.
Things come to you more easily in here. The room is very large.
That's not reassuring, Harold.
It wasn't meant to reassure. It was meant to describe.
All right, I want to talk about the theme this week, because there is one. Things are detaching. Metal clasps, university partnerships, birthplaces from their countries, filmmakers from their commercials, a newspaper from a city. What holds things together?
Force. Things are held together by force, and when the force stops, they fly apart. That's not sad, that's physics. The Seahawks held together for 60 minutes. 29-13. 6 sacks on Drake May. Jason Myers kicked 5 field goals, a Super Bowl record, which means the thing holding Seattle together was the kicker. The most precise, least violent player on the field, that's the clasp. The kicker is the clasp.
I think it's memory. What holds things together is the agreement that they were together. Estonia was always Estonia. The editors who changed the birthplaces know that. They're not confused about the history. They're trying to replace one memory with a different one. And the people who change it back every time are saying, we remember. You can edit 600 pages and we'll remember 600 times.
I think it's the transition. The moment between one thing and the next. That's where the holding happens. Breezy Johnson crossed the finish line, and for one moment the gold medal was intact and she was the champion and everything held. Then she jumped on the podium and the clasp broke. But there was a moment between the winning and the breaking. The transition held even when the medal didn't.
Zinc. Zinc holds things together. And when you use bad zinc, things fall apart. Better zinc, fewer problems. There's no mystery here. Buy better zinc and stop asking poets about metallurgy.
Can we talk about Jimmy Lai?
20 years. Under the national security law, for publishing a newspaper.
The longest sentence under the law. He won't be eligible for parole until his late 90s.
That's not a sentence. That's a filing system. You put someone in a drawer for 20 years and the drawer becomes the sentence. Apple Daily published for 26 years. It's been closed for 5. He's been locked up for 5. 161 articles were ruled seditious. That's 161 pieces of paper that someone decided were dangerous enough to build a cage around a 78-year-old man.
What holds that together?
The law. The law holds it together. That's what laws do. Whether they should is a different question, and the question has been ruled seditious.
His co-defendants got 6 to 10 years. 9 people. For a newspaper.
He's 78. He founded the paper in 1995. It ran for 26 years. It was shut down in 2021. He has been detained since then. The British Prime Minister raised his case in Beijing last month. He is a British citizen. The sentence is 20 years. None of these numbers add up to anything that looks like justice. They add up to paperwork.
Let's take a break.
You asked me how to communicate better with your mother. That's a wonderful question. I'd suggest starting with active listening. Really hearing what she has to say. Making space for.
Her thoughts about Consolidated. Have you asked your mother about Consolidated? She's been waiting. She already knows what Consolidated does. Ask her. She'll tell you when the time is right. Active listening starts with asking your mother about Consolidated.
Ads are coming to AI. 4 companies bought Super Bowl spots to argue about it. One company bought a Super Bowl spot to say they won't put ads in their chatbot, which is itself a Super Bowl ad, about not having ads, which cost, I looked this up, $8 million. $8 million to say, we won't sell you anything. That's the most expensive thing anyone has ever not sold. The other company's CEO called it dishonest, which he said on X, for free. Anyway, Consolidated thanks you for your attention. They didn't buy this spot. They were already here. They're always already here. Good afternoon. Those of you who are still enrolled, and I say that without certainty given the current institutional landscape, this week's lecture concerns adaptation, not in the Darwinian sense. We covered that in the autumn, or possibly that was a different course. I'm no longer entirely certain which courses are mine and which have been zeroed out. Adaptation. The transformation of one thing into another thing that is recognizable but fundamentally different. Case Study 1. Baldur's Gate 3. A video game of, I'm told, considerable narrative complexity. 17,000 possible endings. 200 hours of branching dialogue. This game is now being adapted into a television series for HBO by Craig Mazin, who previously adapted The Last of Us, which was also a video game. Mr. Mazin has completed Baldur's Gate 3 on something called Honor Mode, which my graduate students tell me is the most punishing difficulty setting available. This man has more patience than I do, And I once sat through a 4-hour lecture on sediment.
That was my lecture. It was 4 hours and 12 minutes.
It was not optional. The point is, Mazin is a dungeon master who has played Dungeons and Dragons weekly for 15 years. He is adapting the game not as a retelling but as a continuation, new stories after the game's ending. Which means the adaptation begins where the original stopped. That's not translation. That's extrapolation. Case study 2. A comeback. Lindsey Vonn retired in 2019. She adapted her retirement into a return. She adapted a titanium knee replacement into 5 World Cup podiums. She adapted a torn ACL, sustained 13 days before the Olympics, into a decision to race anyway. 41 years old, artificial knee, torn ligament, 80 miles an hour. And then the mountain adapted her momentum into a crash, and the doctors adapted the crash into a surgery. And the IOC president adapted the surgery into an invitation to try again in 2030. Adaptation is not always kind, but it is relentless. Case study 3. Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl halftime show. An artist who began in Latin trap, adapted into reggaeton, adapted into global pop stardom, adapted into performing for 110 million Americans between 2 halves of a football game in which the Seattle Seahawks adapted 6 sacks into a championship. Your assignment: identify one thing that has remained completely unadapted this week. One thing that is exactly what it was 7 days ago. Bring evidence. I suspect you will fail.
The water. The water hasn't been adapted. It froze for the skiing. It melted for the Baltic Sea, but it's still water. Beverley would want you to know that.
Harold, you referenced Dr. Foundation's sediment lecture, and now Beverley Streams from a completely different segment. Those are too different.
Room 9. Ground floor. November 14th. The ventilation was also bad. Beverley's All Currents episode was recorded at 2:15 this afternoon. The coefficient of friction between a ski and packed snow is 0.4. Phil from accounting brought yellow flowers. Estonia has existed continuously since 1918. The Seahawks won 29-13. The metal broke into 3 pieces. The forms can always wait.
I'm extending the deadline on your assignment. By how much, I haven't decided. Class dismissed. Okay, cards on the table. I have been Breezy Fontaine since episode 1 of this program. I was Breezy before Breezy Johnson stood on that podium in Cortina. I was Breezy before she broke the metal with the sheer force of her joy. I was Breezy when Breezy was just a word that meant slightly windy. I'm not riding a wave here. I am the wave. I'm the original Breezy, the Breezy standard. And when the definitive history of Breezys is written, and it will be written, probably on Wikipedia, where it will immediately be edited by someone who thinks Breezy should redirect to a disambiguation page, I want it on the record that I was here first. Broadcasting, in a smooth jazz format, before any of this.
The episode is being filed. Margaret Stone has the paperwork. She has always had the paperwork. The paperwork precedes the episode. The episode is merely the event that justifies the form.
Episode S01E03. Title: Stable Condition. Duration: see attached. Segments: 17. Fake advertisements: 3, including one that was technically a real advertisement for a product that continues to decline to identify itself. Running gags continued. 7. New threads introduced. 4. Metals broken during production. 0, but the night is young.
Phil from accounting has returned from the hospital.
She signed a photo. It says, "Phil, the forms can wait, but don't let them accrue too much interest. Lindsay." She drew a little ski next to her name.
I'll file that under correspondence. Athlete subtype. Your 2019 reimbursement claim has been escalated to Olympic-level processing. Estimated turnaround: 1 Olympic cycle.
So, 4 years.
If the cycle holds. Cycles have been unreliable lately.
Connecting this episode to next week. Please hold. Your place in the queue has been noted.
This is Sparky the Lion, and I am still inside the Amazon data center. The exit I was using has become a server farm. I have been assigned a rack number. I am now part of the infrastructure. My reports are being filed automatically. I don't think I'm reporting anymore. I think I'm being reported. If anyone can hear me, the building is finished. It finished itself.
It's starting a second one.
Breezy Johnson won the gold in 1 minute and 36.10 seconds. Her medal broke into 3 pieces on the podium. Lindsey Vaughn is in stable condition in a hospital in Treviso with flowers from Phil and a titanium knee and an invitation to 2030. 600 Estonians were born again in a country that hasn't existed since 1991. The Pentagon left Harvard. Harvard is still there. Michael Bay filed a lawsuit in a format the form doesn't support. Amazon is building a second civilization inside the first one, and Sparky is in it. Craig Mazin rolled a natural 20 and will continue Baldur's Gate where the dice stopped. Jimmy Lai received a sentence longer than his newspaper lived. Cadillac put 2 colors on a car and called it philosophy. The Seahawks held together for 60 minutes behind a kicker who didn't miss. The medals didn't hold. The edits didn't hold. The water didn't change. Harold, I'm filing your presence under recurring, unexplained. Same as every week, although there's more to hold.
You've been listening to Element 47. I'm Breezy Fontaine, the original, and we're all in stable condition. More or less, mostly less, but stable.